guys, I just wanted to take the time and finish up the last couple problems on your notes to see if you are prepared and ready to go. But just remember that if you know the pattern, you're going to be okay. So again, what's the pattern? Okay, on a 45, 45, 90 triangle, we know the legs are going to be the same. And to get to the hypotenuse, you take the leg times root 2. So remember, we use this formula. Hypotenuse equals leg times root 2. For most of you, this is probably the best thing to memorize when you work with it. So like on A, we're missing the 2 legs. So really, I only have to solve for one of them, and then I know the other one. So knowing that what we have, let's write our formula down. Hypotenuse equals leg times root 2. What is your hypotenuse? Well, the hypotenuse is 4 times the square root of 2, because, right, this is our hypotenuse. The leg, let's pick which one. Let's just say x for right now. And then we put root 2 there. Now I'm solving for x, so what do? Divide by root 2, divide by root 2. Well, those simplify out. We get 4 is equal to x. So x is equal to 4. What's y going to equal? 4, because they're both legs. So that's as simple as that one gets. Does that make sense? Okay, let's try the next one. Okay, when I look at that, I see a 45-degree angle, which automatically lets me know I'm an isosceles right triangle. So what's the value of x? All right, x is going to equal to 5, okay? Now, y is the hypotenuse, right? Well, remember, I'm using a 45, 45, 90, which means I know my hypotenuse is just the leg times root 2. So I'm going from the smaller to the bigger, so I multiply my root 2. Well, the hypotenuse is y. The leg is 5 times root 2. That's your solution. I know, it's almost too easy once you realize the pattern. All right, let's try another one. Okay, again, we have a 45-degree angle. That gives us the idea that we know it's an isosceles right triangle. So actually, y is easiest to solve for this time. That's just 7 root 3, because it's the same as the other leg. Because remember, my legs are congruent on an isosceles right triangle. To get to the hypotenuse, we're going to go hypotenuse equals leg times root 2. So hypotenuse is x. The leg is 7 root 3. And we multiply by root 2. So when we multiply these together, we're going to get 7 root 6. Sounds good? All right, awesome. Okay, let's keep doing. Okay, look in the next one. These are all, again, I have the 2 sides are marked, so I know right away it's a 45, 45, 90. We're looking for the legs, but what am I given this time? This time I have the hypotenuse. Remember, I'm going from a bigger one down to the smaller one, so this is going to be a division type problem. But I think for most of you, it's best to write it out. Hypotenuse equals leg times root 2. So what's the hypotenuse? The hypotenuse is 10 root 2. The leg, pick which variable you want this time, x or y. Plug it in. So I get x root 2, because we put the leg in, which is x. And then I'm solving for x. I divide by root 2. I divide by root 2. Anything divided by itself is going to be 1. So I get 10 equals x. So x is equal to 10, which automatically makes y equal to what, my friends? 10. I mean, this is how easy it is, guys. This is how cool this process is, if you know the pattern. Okay, so I have the hypotenuse. Again, I know this is because the 45-degree angles, it's isosceles. So I'm given hypotenuse equals leg times root 2. The hypotenuse is 5. The leg, pick which one you want, x or y. So let's just put x in there. Root 2. So I'm going to divide by root 2, divide by root 2. So I get x is equal to 5 divided by root 2. Have to rationalize my denominator, because remember I can't have a radical in the denominator. So when we do that, we get x is equal to 5 root 2 over, guys, root 2 times root 2 is square root of 4. Go off to the side. What's the square root of 4? 2. So x is 5 root 2 over 2. Okay, and then y is going to actually be the exact same thing because they're equal to each other. All right, one last one to do. Okay, one last one to do. I'm given the hypotenuse again. I know it's isosceles because they said both variables are the same. So I'm going to go hypotenuse to the leg. So again, I'm going smaller, so I divide by root 2. Or think the formula, hypotenuse equals leg times root 2. So I get 12 root 5 equals the leg, which is x, times root 2. I'm going to divide by radical 2. Divide by radical 2. So I get 12 root 5 over root 2, but I have to rationalize it, right? Because I can't have a radical 2 in the bottom. All right? So I multiply the numerator denominator by root 2. And a lot of you might struggle with rationalizing the radical. We'll talk a little bit more about it on block day, so don't feel too worried about it. So I get 12 root 10 all over 2. What happens here? Divide by 2, because root 2 over 2, by the way, I should probably show an extra step here, so please forgive me, guys. I'm going to go back a step. You're going to get 12 times the square root of 10, because 5 times 2 multiplied together to be 10. Root 2 times root 2 is the square root of 4. But what happens when you take the square root of 4? It is 2. So I get 12 root 10 over 2, and then it simplifies. The x is still here, so that's 6 root 10. Guys, I hope that helps you simplify it just a little bit. It's just 6 more minutes worth of work, but hopefully, you guys, it makes it a little bit more clear on your homework. Have a great day, my friends.